This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you for joining our Conversations with Staff. This is Missy Zalecki, Director of Community Engagement, and I would like to introduce Hilary Russello, who is our Director of Research Facilitation. She joined our team last July, but she will share more about what she did prior, but she has a long-standing history with our Fragile X family and came from one of our Fragile X clinics at Cincinnati Children's. Hilary, go ahead and share what you would like about yourself.
Sure, thanks for having me. Hello everyone. I look forward to meeting you all, hopefully in person very soon. Like Missy said, I worked previously at Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center for a little over 6 years. And I was a clinical research coordinator and became the clinical research manager there. So I trained everybody. I've run all kinds of research studies, and I got the gig of a lifetime by being able to join the foundation. So I'm really looking forward to sharing a little bit more about what the foundation has been doing and what I've been able to work on while I'm here. So that's me, and that's my husband. We don't have any children, but he's the real scientist in the family. He just got his PhD in systems biology. So anytime I don't understand anything, he likes to. He's my tutor, so that's nice. All right, so I'm just gonna launch into it. So usually when I tell people I'm the director of research facilitation, this is the face I get. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? The good thing is that you guys are a little bit ahead of the curve, because I think you gave a lot of the foundational feedback that instituted a lot of the changes and adaptations that went into creating my role and a lot of the work that the foundation is doing today. So thank you so much for your leadership, and thanks for creating what research facilitation is. So what I tell people when they ask me what research facilitation is that our mission is to really speed up and increase the probability of getting an effective Fragile X treatment, whether that's pharmacological or not. And our objective is really to be at the center of all that foundation. So involved from the very beginning. We want to be in charge of centralizing, so being a one-stop shop to help people connect and collaborate, to align early and often, so understand what researchers are doing early, help them kind of calibrate and move throughout their project and support them. And then make sure that there's access to critical research information for everyone. So all of the data from trials never gets lost. We do a good communicating what's going on when, and making sure that the data gets back to the people who really done the hard work, like you guys who've enrolled in research.
For those of you that were at the summit that we did last April, if you remember during lunch, we had a conversation about research and asked a lot of questions. That was a lot of what Hilary was talking about, how we were really trying to better understand what the community needs from what we can help facilitate. So you really were the drivers in a lot of this development.
Right, absolutely. And you know, the goal of research facilitation is, that facilitation word is really important in it. We want to connect and collaborate and make sure that families are in the center of research. So you'll see that theme throughout kind of what I'm talking about and the services and programming that we're developing and providing. So here's sort of our portfolio as it exists. I came from a hospital setting, so lots of acronyms, so I'll kind of clear the chart to make it more clear. So you'll see these three distinct buckets. You're probably more familiar with the focused projects, as a lot of them have been around for much longer, but what we've been really building is the services and definitely the research readiness program. So in terms of services, the research facilitation service menu is the offerings that we can do for anybody in the research field in terms of helping them recruit for their study and get their information out, so sharing their data. CRO means contract research organization. So when you do research as an investigator, you have certain responsibilities that are given to you, and you can contract out, people to kind of do the administrative work for you. So that's what a CRO is. And what we've done is created a value added package, because we know that we are the best in terms of orienting researchers to best practice in our community, keeping everybody at the center, the patients really at the center. And so we feel like we have a really nice add-on package to that, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. We're working really hard to find more accessible solutions to research. So we're looking into e-consent. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. It's not fully rolled out yet. And then we're going to spend a lot of time on the research readiness program today, because you drive a lot of these initial contacts and how people go through this program. So when I say research readiness program, this is like the big 10,000-foot picture. And a lot of you come in, right at the beginning with initial contacts. So I know you get contacted from academia, or hospital sites that are doing research, and some of you are even lucky enough to get contacted by pharma asking for your help connecting with families. And what we've done is really asked you to forward those requests to us, specifically me, and please let Missy know as well. That way we can kind of take that burden off of you. We so appreciate all the work you do, but this absolutely should not be your job, it's mine. And I will do my best to always keep you in the loop, so that, we respect your volunteer status, but also keep you in the loop so you know what's going on. So Missy thought it would be good for us to kind of walk through what happens, so you're really clear on, what the pipeline looks like once you pass something along to me. So say a research contacts you. It would be great if you CC'd Missy and I and connected us with that person. Then what we do on our end is, I'll thank you, obviously. And we talk with the researcher a little bit about what their project is, what their goals are, and their aims. If the study is active, meaning it's already IRB approved, they're already enrolling, it's not a concept, right? They're already off to their races. We review this internally just to make sure that it's really patient-centric, that it's safe, and that we feel comfortable promoting it. We're not going to widely spread anything that we don't feel like is safe and for you. So please know that that's at the heart of what this program is. If we have any feedback, we usually we will communicate that with the researcher. And once we're all squared away, we kind of call it a certification. And so that's when the research study gets put onto my Fragile X research portal. If you haven't gotten a chance to take a look at that, it's a really gorgeous portal that Dan and Jane created that houses lots of different studies, not just clinical trials, but MRI research, repository style, and survey research that you can toggle through depending on what you're interested in. What we will also do is work with the researcher on a personalized engagement plan. That's just a really fancy phrase for marketing. So, what is effective, who we should be talking to, and how we can communicate that with the community. And then any other research facilitation services that they may need help with. At that point, we invite them to any kind of annual meetings that are occurring. So, please come to Advocacy Day. You're welcome to join us at the conference. And they have opportunities to touch base with us annually. So as you know, a lot of studies, start in pilot phases. So they're just trying it out with people. And then maybe the researcher writes a grant and gets an R1. That's sort of where the touch base comes into play.
Okay.
If the study is not active, meaning that someone's just kind of kicking around an idea in their head, that's what this program's bread and butter is. We want to be there to connect them with other professionals, experts in the field. And so the process is very similar, right? They'll reach out to you. Please, again, send them to Missy and myself. We'll walk through the screening process with them, and then we're going to connect them with a review committee that's very specific to their needs. So if they're doing a research study with, looking at pre-mutation carrier issues, we're going to connect them with people, the experts in our cadre that really specialize in that. Then the researcher has the opportunity to kind of pitch their concept to their committee and get lots of really nice directed feedback. And they can come back again once they've adjusted. That's why concept's there twice. So they have the opportunity to come at least twice to review their concept. And then their committee will also help them write a protocol that's really tailored to the community, making it safe, as effective as possible with the best possible outcomes. And then, the back half looks very similar. We would put their study on research, talk with them about an engagement plan, and any other services we may be able to provide. Again, invite them to any annual meetings that are going on and continue to keep up that communication and collaboration throughout the year so that we know what's going on, right? We're assessing, we're aligning like we talked about, and making sure we meet their needs and that they're also meeting the needs of our community. So that's sort of the research readiness program, the quick and dirty of it. I'm happy to talk in detail about any questions you might have. I did briefly clear this in the portfolio slide. So this is what a CRO structure looks like. A organization that functions to operate and execute all different parts of clinical trials. And instead of becoming a CRO, we feel like we'd be best suited to have this add-on package where we can really help with study startup, training the professionals who may be executing this to make sure that they're really clear on what Fragile X is and how they can be best serving the community, and sort of being an administrative support system. So again, just really utilizing our skill set in terms of collaborating and connecting and adding a service that will be best for our community. That's all I got for you. Missy, let me know if there's any gaps you want me to fill in, or what I can do.
I would rather have them kind of ask any questions about, I hope my wanting you guys to kind of hear this is, one of the things that's been within our community in a while is that, we have not been in the research game. And I think what you can see with what Hilary's talking about is that we are not only in that game, we are leading the game in all the different things that we're trying to do, because and correct me if I'm wrong, Hilary, our priority is making sure that research that's happening is with the community and our individuals in mind. And that's the forefront, that making sure our outcomes are consistent with what our families and our individuals with Fragile X are most needing. So we've really taken an integral role in that, and some of the things that she talked about, like the research readiness, the clinical trials committee and things like that, those are a direct result of the things that we've heard over the years. Many of us lived through the STX 209 study and the things that happened, and these are the things that we're doing to help ensure that the next things that come along are going to have greater success because we've set up the structure much better.
Absolutely. And I think, just to build off of what Miss is saying, we're seeing this already word of mouth is really working. We have researchers who are coming to us first before they even start their study to really talk through it, because they know that we'll connect them with families, we'll connect them with professionals, and really give them great advice. We have people who ask us for letters of support, who are people who are finishing up their projects and want us to help them disseminate their results. And that's happening very quickly and organically, which I think is a huge testament to not only how hard you worked to have the foundation and the community hear your voices and what you needed, and then what the foundation's done in response. So you should be really proud of that. I mean, I can't take credit for that. I've only been here a few months. So I hope you feel confident in the direction that this is going and in the momentum that it's building.
And Hilary, could you share a little bit? So we talked about the clinical trial committee and the research readiness program that we have. And can you share, when people come to us and wanting to do that, what is the structure of that as far as, you know, who's on that that's doing that consult for these people that are coming to us for this consult component?
Yeah, okay, good question. So like Missy said, the clinical trials committee has been integral in terms of building this research readiness program. And so that committee is made up of 14 professionals. You know, we've got David Hessel, Gandhi Hagerman, Liz Berry Kravis, Craig Erickson, Barbara Haas-Gibler. We've got all the heavy hitters. So they have a really nice group of people that can pick from. And like I said before, we want to align the researcher with people who are best suited and complement the research that they're doing. So if someone's focusing on a survey versus a clinical trial, we want to pair them with people who will give them the right feedback. And what we would also like to do is connect people with families who are interested and willing to give their feedback, whether they've been in research or not, because your voice is really important in terms of what makes something accessible and feasible and what you actually want to see changed. So I hope that answered your question a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
So if you guys, this is your opportunity to ask Hilary any questions that you have about research facilitation, and, you know, is there any, I don't know if you have questions about things that you could do to help facilitate that with her or anything like that.
Hello?
Hi.
I can hear you.
Hi. My brother is 66 years old. He is in Rentham Developmental Center, and they don't seem to have a clue what medication to put him on. He went from breaking his wrist in the group home to falling and breaking his hip in the group home to rolling down the hill backwards with no driver in the van, at which point the state was jumping through all the hoops they could for us. So we took him out of the group home and put him back in the institution because that's what he had been in since he was 8 years old and would do better there. But now they started messing with his meds because, of course, he has issues because he can't walk. He doesn't understand how he went through all this surgery and can't walk. And so he's very angry. And he's in isolation for 2 months now in the May Center, what they call it. And I just want to know if you have any kind of research that could go out to him to see what's going on. They don't seem to have a grip. They say they know and about the Fragile X, but they keep hit or missing on all these medications, and it's just he's not getting any better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds very challenging. Yeah. So I feel for you. In terms of research, you know, there is more movement in terms of opportunities that will come to you as opposed to you having to go somewhere else. But what I would recommend, I'm not a medical professional, so I can't give you, you know, medical advice, but it sounds like, you know, for most research studies, you have to be pretty stable on your medication therapy regimens. And so for him to participate in research, it's likely that they're going to encourage you to get some of that worked out beforehand. So I know that's not probably the answer you wanted to hear, or maybe very helpful, but offline, I'm happy to, you know, try and help you find a clinician who can maybe, you know, be a little more helpful in terms of med.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know what, do any of you, I know it's all mostly studies for the younger Fragile X children, but is there any medication out there that they've given that, you know, like now he's on Celexa. He had been on gabapentin. He had been on Abilify. That really didn't work for him. Dr. Erickson recommended that, and that didn't work for him either. So, I mean, is there anything out there that you know of that other children are? He has the full mutation.
So there are studies for adults. So off the top of my head, Dr. Erickson has a single dose challenge study, right, where they're trialing 4 different medications, and it goes all the way up to people who are 55. So there is an adult study. There's a metformin trial that enrolls adults, and there are some others. Now, I also know that that is a gap that a lot of people cite, right, that they want to see more research for adults with Fragile X. And so we hear you, and we're going to see what we can do about that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think another great resource would be to email Jane at the foundation. So it would be JAYNE at fragilex.org. And she can also help with connecting you to some resources and maybe a clinician in the area. So, sharing some of that info and, exactly where that individual lives, she may help to pinpoint a clinician that could be helpful.
Okay, what was that at fragilex.work, W-O-R-K? Oh,
.org. O-R-G.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Thank you so much. I just wanted to get steered in some direction here. We're pulling our hair out. The poor guy,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anything we can do to help. Jane's amazing. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Your children will be that.
Anybody have any other? Anybody else have any other questions for Hilary?
I don't have any questions. I think we're always on the local level trying to. I mean, it's hard for us. I mean, obviously everybody's busy, but to stay in tune with like what's available that we could pass on, to the people in our group. Trying to stay abreast of what's out there. And I know that there's that the system is becoming better, I think, to figuring that out. But I don't know if there's, a way to, maybe if something new comes available that kind of could be sent out, so where we could kind of say, oh, well, let me perk my radar, let me go check on that and send out some information on it. Or I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking on how it would help, how it could get more widespread information out to everybody.
Yeah.
On the research that's available.
Yeah, Missy and I have talked about doing a very specific kind of like a CSN research roundup that we can tailor either, if studies don't have travel support, sort of what's going on in your region versus things that are like you're saying.
Right.
So something like that would be helpful in addressing what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, and Hilary, you do already send
Sorry, go ahead.
Hilary, you do already send out a research roundup email.
Correct. Yep. So every 4 to 6 weeks, you'll see the weekly email comes from me, and I kind of aggregate a lot of the new studies or studies that are closing, and they all have a button that links to their My Fragile X research post. But on top of that, I'm happy to over communicate with you. I just don't want it to overwhelm you, but
No.
to bother you.
Sometimes I need over communication.
Well, I'm happy to do that, and I'm going to remind you maybe.
I mean, maybe people don't want it. I'm one that I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get on that. But
yeah, so maybe we can trial that. So on top of the
and I think it's good. I really think the communication has improved, over the past year, which is great.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm happy you feel that way. Great. Well, thank you. Yeah, we'll try that and keep an eye out definitely for the big research roundup emails as well. I'll see what I can do on my end to make it more specific. Yeah,
because we have several from our Houston group that are flying to Tulsa for the Zynerba trial right now. So we were able to kind of get that information out and So anyway, it's kind of exciting.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Yeah, I heard that people are excited. So if you want more, I'm happy to get you more.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to see from us, request, or any other questions for Hilary?
I missed a few minutes because my internet dropped. It was I don't or I missed like 5 minutes or so. I don't know which portion of it actually was, but I'll just go back to the recording. I mean, I definitely got the gist of it when you were going through the chart with what happens after we pass a request on to you. And it was somewhere during there, all of a sudden my computer froze. It's a combination of it being a really old computer and we have really pretty crappy internet service where we live. So I don't know. It was just a combination of both. So I'm now on my phone, so I don't have as good of a view of everything as I had before. But anyway, I think I got the gist of it, but I definitely missed a portion there. So sorry about that.
Oh, don't apologize. I'm happy to go back.
Hey, Hilary, would you like to share about the call that you had this week because of a CSN? Somebody reached out to one of our CSN leaders.
Yeah, that's a great example. So I'd love to share that. Thank you. So this week, Missy and I, or excuse me, Jane and I and a CSN leader had the opportunity to talk with a new researcher who just moved back from the UK and is really interested into getting into Fragile X research here because he was doing it there. And so we had a nice conversation about his interests, what his plan is in terms of the study. We had a great opportunity to kind of talk about what we could do on a local level and how he could get engaged in the research readiness program prior to writing his protocol. And he was just really positive, really engaged, was excited about the program. And, you know, I have to give Kara a lot of credit because it worked out so perfectly. It's now like going to be the marquee example. So she connected us early. We were able to get on the phone with him and she was involved as well. He learned a lot about the foundation, about what we can do to help him facilitate his research and make it the best it possibly can. And I think we now have, you know, one more researcher in our family. And we couldn't have done it without Kara. We can't do it without you guys. And I think a lot of these researchers are going to reach out to you directly because you do have your finger on the pulse and you are so important. So just, you know, communication goes both ways. I'd love to keep you involved, but, you know, and please let me, you know, get me connected with who's blowing up your email. So, yeah.
We know sometimes the researchers can be a little persistent when they have a study that is nearing their deadline that they need to get enrollees, and sometimes pushed really hard. And that's where sending it to Hilary and me, Hilary will have that conversation with them to make sure that we're best able to support them without them putting the pressure on you guys.
Absolutely. Yep. They have a deadline, but we need to make sure that you're not getting any undue pressure. And, you know, we've been able to successfully help quite a few researchers at this point reach their enrollment goal on time, which is almost unheard of in research. And so, you know, let us do the heavy lifting for sure. So.
Any other comments, questions, anything that you need from me that I can help you with tonight?
Well, thank you.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I mean, please keep the ideas, the comments, the feedback coming. You know, I'm here to make your lives easier, and I want you guys to feel really confident in the research that's coming out in the field. So I'm all ears. We can email, call, whatever you want. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time, Hilary. Thank you guys all for joining. Really appreciate it. And I hope that you like these opportunities to be able to kind of get to know the staff and the team and what they're doing, because sometimes, it's always good to know, what does it mean, research facilitation? It can be kind of vague, and hopefully now you have a better idea of the many things that Hilary is doing to really help move the mark for all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.